Yeah. And what happens, I do not believe you conduct any trials or anything here at your mayor's court. I believe any not guilties come to us.
Yeah, I understood it.
And so what happens is it becomes kind of a waiver bureau, you know. And I think that in tough times, I'm hoping with Macedonia, you know, the nose is getting a little further out of the water all the time. But in tough times, I don't know how you can't review your mayor's court to see if it's making money or costing money.
Do you lose control when you don't have a prosecutor that works for your community?
I can tell you when I was a prosecutor 30-plus years ago, there were 2 Cuyahoga Falls prosecutors. There was, Stow had a prosecutor, and I was the prosecutor for Twinsburg. A couple of the townships then chose to hire me rather than hire the Cuyahoga Falls prosecutors. And there was a total of 4 prosecutors. You know, we now have 16. And I think during high clover times, everybody would love to have their own. Do I think it necessary? I'll defer to your judgment on that. What happens is police develop either loyalty or an enmity. I mean, I've got some communities where they do not like their prosecutor at all. In your case, you've got a good, hard-working, honest, decent prosecutor. You know, 2 ways about it. And again, when I'm telling you about profits and losses, I have no idea what you're paying for any of these things. I don't know what you're paying clerks. I don't know what you're.
Well, you know what, that's a little bit of a segue from me coming and thank you publicly. Because when Macedonia was going through its deepest, darkest times, Judge Hoover and Judge Coates came up here and said, how's it look for the jails? I said, not good. So the judge volunteered to start sending us what we call criminals, which helped us get through those tough times. So you helped us a lot.
Well, we've always had the good relationship. Your police department is way, way better than a 10,000 city police department. It's because you don't have a 10,000 person city. In the daytime, you know, with the commons and with the interstates, you play big. Yeah, your police do well. And so what happens, we have confidence. We really like your leadership. I get a kick out of Yakupovich all the time. He'll be mad about something, he'll call, give us hell. I love that. You know, it's I'm mad about this, well, how did this happen? And then when you give the facts, oh, okay, I see why, I got it.
Yeah.
And I love having that relationship because it's not someone calling and saying you're a bum. I wouldn't think that you can ask your police, I mean, do privately. They might not even like me, but I don't think anybody's going to say I'm corruptible or that I don't treat them well, that they get treated differently because it's Macedonia than Cuyahoga Falls or Stow or whatever.
I was very serious when I said you made me better. It wasn't always comfortable, but you did it. So, I mean, and I'm sure you've done that for many people, so.
I seek to be an honest man even if I'm stupid.
What about with unintended consequences? Have other communities made the switch over to, you know, your courtroom, and is there anything that has come up that was not foreseen?
Both Hudson and Reminderville gave up their mayor's courts, and it's worked out very well for them.
How long ago?
Hudson's probably 4 or 5 years, Reminderville about the same, I guess. I mean, it might be 6 years, yeah, how times change. To us, the bigger harm was Cuyahoga Falls, out of spite because of our move, opened the biggest mayor's court in the history of Ohio in Cuyahoga Falls. And what Mayor Robart likes to say is it used to cost us this money to operate here. Now we're making this money. I'm telling you, these are false facts he puts out. He says we took in $750,000. And I said, really? You know, we took in $6 million. That doesn't mean you got to keep it. If you look at this list, I mean, you'll laugh when you see where money goes that comes from our clerk's office. You know, it's people around the state say, how come your clerks aren't making money when you've got all these millions come in? And I say, really, did you figure I'd have to give the state board a pharmacy, $139,000? I'll let Dave see, but Department of Liquor Control, you know, Board of Pharmacy, and as you go down through, you'll see everything from public defenders. You know, there's like 4 or 5 different public defenders.
So are you saying that our mayor's court has comparable fees as well?
Yeah.
So it's not just that we're paying however much to run this, we actually have to pay these fees as well, but
Yes.
much smaller.
because of your volume.
Right.
But by law, they're required to pay.
All of those.
Well, it depends on the kind of case, you know. What happens is if you're sending all your drug cases to me, then there wouldn't be a line on yours to the State Board of Pharmacology.
Okay.
Because that only comes from drug
So
cases.
victims assistance and things like that.
Yeah, that would come out, they'd be sending money to them, victims assistance from us. Well, that's only through June. I wanna say 40,000, something like that a year.
Judge Hoover, can we have a copy of that?
Sure, this is, in fact, we've already given you a copy of this. We send you our annual report every year. So our annual report has already come to you.
It's given to the city.
It would have
Oh.
all those things.
It's not to us.
Victims of crime, and you can certainly make a copy of this. Victims of crime, for example, we collected 90,000 went to them. As you go down through here, you'll see things, you'll say, well, why does this person get this? Some of them are legit. Like you'll see things under cost to the state, $840,000. Well, that's no gift from us from the state. That's everything from state highway patrolmen and sheriff's deputies writing traffic and criminal cases, and so those funds go here. In fact, why don't I just hand you that if you want that for make a quick, that's, as I say, you already have that,
All
but
right.
if you want to make
You
a
want
copy of that,
this now?
that's easy.
Who wants a copy of it? Everybody gets one.
I'm going to guess that, as I pulled off of your website, it had your waiver fees and things, that was the other misnomer. They made us sound like we were charging a fortune in court costs, and so mayor's courts save money. Your average case here, it looks like about $119 is your waiver cost for following too close. I think ours is $123, $4 different.
That's just when somebody sends the ticket in and says, I'm guilty.
Yes, that's what a waiver is. So what happens is if people come to court, they might be charged different than the waiver. And that's part of what tends to make me uncomfortable with mayor's courts. What happens is if a local powerful person comes before me, I got 200,000 other people that have to vote for me. If I have to do something that irritates them to do the right thing, I don't like to make anybody unhappy with me, but I have to do what I have to do. And if I am sitting as the magistrate in a mayor's court, and I'm irritating these couple people, I gotta wonder, are they gonna get on the phone the next day and call the mayor and raise Cain? Now, I'm not saying that ever happened or will happen, but it makes people hesitate at the switch. I think it's not uncommon in mayor's courts that you live in Macedonia, you're a good old boy, you know, let's see if I can't give you a break, you're already paying high taxes. You're from Pennsylvania, you know, come on. Does that happen? I am certainly not making that allegation, I'm simply saying there's a motivation for that isn't in the bigger court. I would also say that your people cannot compare to our people in training, experience, qualifications. Just can't.
If we were to discuss this and make, how long would it take? Would it be like, happen in January or something like that, or is it just a yearly contract thing?
It's up to you. Mayor's court, you can't have a mayor's court unless the mayor says, I want a mayor's court. So it's really Mayor Cook's call.
It's in the charter.
He says,
It's weird, it's our,
you found our report.
oh, no, here's copies. I'm
Oh.
just saying, the way our charter, I'm just referring, the mayor's court is in our charter.
Yeah, usually what a mayor's court will do is it'll be a power of the executive. And the mayor can determine whether or not they want a mayor's court or not. It is part of Ohio Revised Code. Councils, of course, legislative bodies, simply not fund or fund. That's the checks and balances of government. If someone wanted to end a mayor's court, the mayor by declaration can end the mayor's court tomorrow. I would think that foolish if you chose to do that, because you still have supplies and stuff. You don't want to lose that money unless you're losing money very good.
This is from Mr. Martin.
These two different ones?
And then Mr.
It looks like it's running from
July.
June, July, and the last one is the December, so you see the year in it.
And then.
And I was gonna say, you may well have something, a similar report that your clerk of courts has to prepare for your mayor's court, and give you the same thing to compare. Ours is more extensive because we handle felonies, and bigger cases and things like that, you know. At the same time, in the mayor's court, I mean, they're not to be brushed away as just handling minor things. I mean, in mayor's court, you can handle misdemeanors of the first degree that can put someone in jail for 182 days. Is that the responsibility one should take seriously? It used to be that by virtue of being elected mayor, you could preside over mayor's court. They then said, no, now you gotta get some training. And what happens is, in my opinion, the better mayors say, this isn't in my realm of experience, I'm gonna hire a lawyer to handle it. And in Macedonia, between that and Myra Severance, your prosecutor, I don't hear complaints of crazy things happening or anything like that. I guess that's basically all I have. I'll answer any questions you have. You have to ask questions of your own people to find out what is this court costing us to run. And as I say, if you find that you pull off the fines, because you say you're gonna get those from the municipal court at no cost to us. You pull off the parts of the cost that we don't keep. You leave us with the cost we keep. From that, you start subtracting out salaries and expenses. And at the bottom line, if you say, well, shoot, we still made $10,000 profit, then I'm telling you, you've already done something wrong. Because it means you made $10,000 profit on court cost, which you're not supposed to be making. Court costs are supposed to cover the cost of operation. But if you are making $10,000, you may say, is that worth it to us or not? What would we make if these same cases went to Cuyahoga Falls, or to the Stow Municipal Court, or to whoever prosecutor you choose?
When did mayor's court start? When did the concept begin?
Well, we had justice of the peace, moved to mayor's courts. The municipal court system was brought on in 1953. In 53, the court, not everyone in the state was covered by a mayor's court, or by a municipal court. Therefore, mayor's courts continued to handle all those areas that weren't included. When the then Cuyahoga Falls Municipal Court was established in 1953, there were 62,000 people covered, 40,000 of which were in Cuyahoga Falls, and 22,000 were in the rest of the district. Today, our district has about 200,000 people, 50,000 of which are in Cuyahoga Falls. So what happened was the tail started to wag the dog. And part of the reason we moved the court, part of the reason we can justify using the Macedonia jail is the same reason we use the Clarion Inn in Boston Heights to house people in the drunk driving program. It's because the geographic center of our jurisdiction is just about that corner of Boston Heights. The population center of our district is just about where the courthouse sits. So what's happened, Ken, is through the years, the legislature kept expanding the municipal courts to take in the unincorporated areas. Until now, every square inch of Ohio is covered with a municipal court, and that's what that same process happened with all the other states. Only Ohio and Louisiana held on to their mayor's courts.
Yeah, because, in thinking about this, the entire mayor's court concept seems to have served a useful purpose. But that purpose seems to have perhaps lived its life to the point where it's about to expire, because so many things have changed. You know, as public officials now, we have to report financially to the state. If we have an election campaign, we have to report where our contributions came from. And there's many other rules ethically that we're required to follow that weren't around in the 50s, 60s, even 70s and 80s. And I think the biggest reason is to really avoid the actual appearance of impropriety, which, as Judge Hoover has pointed out, and perhaps others, that commonly occurs in the mayor's court venue. So, just from an ethical standpoint, and just pushing aside the dollars, which are important, but just from an ethical standpoint, and the standpoint of just removing that appearance of impropriety, this is certainly an idea that needs to be examined very, very seriously.
You'll also find if you grab your report looks something like this. Our annual report that comes out.
I kind of agree with Ken. I mean, we had, when the state had before its legislature a couple of years ago to get rid of mayor's court, it started out with no, and then they shrunk it down to like 1,600 people or something like that. I thought they should have went by the wayside. Yeah, we've always used those reports.
This report comes out, I'm not sure, you get, well, it looks like it's dated March 3rd. You get one from us every
Okay.
year. You probably get it, go, what the heck, throw it. If you have, I'll send you another one if you want. It's got other information. For example, when you look at it, you'll see that Macedonia received, I think it said $9,000.
It's 9,000, something I read.
Yeah, let's see. Well, it would be on a different,
It's on the page 11. Yeah.
yeah. With those kind of things, as I say, yeah, I don't have all your facts. I don't know what your cost of operation is. I don't know how you man mayor's court. Do you have police come and, you know, stay here? Do they, if you say I don't pay anything more from police, we just have them here, I'd say they ought to be on the streets.
That's on the streets.
So there is a cost to that. Cost benefit analysis. Who's that guy? He looks familiar, I think. Hi, Chief.
I'm assuming we could come talk to you down at your office, maybe
Sure,
try some
anytime.
questions, or?
Anytime. Yeah.
Policemen from this town have to go to the court.
They do. If you have a trial, oh, you do that anyway. If they plead not guilty here in Bears Court, it comes to us, and your police show up, and that's how I get the
No
man.
increase there. Because that was a big concern.
No, like I say, if you were having a trial, it was already happening in our place. And whatever expense. Would I bore you to tears with too many numbers?
Oh, it's
A whole lot of
interesting.
information.
It's interesting.
I said it's too much. I know everybody's eyes.
Actually, this is the most reasonable we've been in about 6 months.
When, with Hudson, when I talked to them, and they decided to give theirs up, theirs was purely on the appearance of impropriety. They didn't even want to talk about the money. They said, we got to take care of this. We're hearing rumblings, and we got to take care of it. So I live in the real world. We're standing here saying how we got to pay it. And again, as I say, you won't get any criticism from me, whatever you choose to do. So I give you the facts. I know you will do no one's better. So no criticism. Love our relationship.
I hope so, because I want to continue.
Yeah.
I really do.
You do a great job with the prisoners. What happens is it's very convenient for us. If you get OVI and it's a first offense, but you have a blood alcohol level over .17, the law requires that you must do 6 days in jail. 3 days can be treatment, 3 have to be jail. The imaginative thing that we came up with Macedonia is we say, we appreciate your people, we appreciate your facility. What if we send everybody who's a 6-dayer? I don't care if they originate out of Chicago Falls or Stow or Reminderville, to your jail. And what the mayor says, hey, that's all great, but I want to make sure that doesn't cost us any money. I said, oh, no, these are paying customers. They don't get in the door unless they've already paid for it. And he says, we'll take paying customers. And so what happens is they come, they're treated with respect. We visit your jail every day, by the way, by video. And to show you our relationship with Macedonia is we put our video equipment in your jail when your stuff broke. Because financial times. I said, you know what? I've got the unit in my courtroom. Normally, we go down and do the video arraignments in a arraignment room in our courts, but we also had a unit in my courtroom, which was the backup. And I said, you know, I can do without that convenience rather than have Macedonia having to transport prisoners. So we brought our stuff down here, and that's worked very well. So every day at 11 o'clock, we will come through and go to different jails. Macedonia continues to house people for some other jurisdictions too on a contract basis. So every morning at 11, I say, good morning, Macedonia. And there's a jailer with a couple real unhappy people. And oftentimes those unhappy people become happier when they realize that they're getting out of jail now by appearing on that video. Nobody had to transport them to Stow. No cruiser made the trip, they're